Welcome to the deep dive. Have you ever checked into a hotel room and felt, well, just okay about it?
Or maybe you had a service experience that completely blew you away.
Yeah, or the opposite, right? Just frustratingly let down. Today, we're diving deep into why those feelings happen. We're really going to unpack service quality.
Yeah, we've gathered a stack of pretty fascinating material here, core frameworks, key metrics that are used all the time in marketing and customer experience.
All designed to help us understand service quality and, customer satisfaction.
Exactly.
Our mission for this deep dive is really to pull out the most important insights from all this. We want to help you understand what truly makes customers happy, what makes them loyal.
And we're focusing particularly on areas you probably know well: hotels, airlines, restaurants, maybe that theme park you visited last summer. It's all about the leisure and tourism industry today.
That's our lens.
And just for context, it's worth mentioning that the ideas we're exploring, they actually form part of the marketing module taught by Professor Auerbach over at Stralsund University of Applied Sciences in Germany.
Ah, okay. So solid academic grounding for this.
Definitely.
Okay, let's get into it then. Why is talking about service quality? Why is it even tricky in the first place?
Well, that's the fundamental challenge, isn't it? Unlike buying, say, a physical product like a souvenir you can hold and inspect.
Right, you can see it, touch it.
Exactly. Services are mostly intangible. You can't really hold a spa treatment or a guided city tour in your hand before you experience it.
And because it's intangible, the usual ways you'd measure product quality, like manufacturing defects or something, they just don't quite fit.
Not directly, no.
Yeah.
It really all boils down to the customer's perception.
How did they feel about that hotel stay, that flight, that meal? It's their subjective experience that counts.
Yeah, their reality. Which leads us straight into a really foundational idea here: the confirmation-disconfirmation model.
Okay, this sounds important. Confirmation, disconfirmation.
It is. It really gets to the heart of that customer feeling. It sounds maybe a bit academic, but the core idea is simple.
Go on.
It basically says that how a customer judges the quality of a service is by comparing what they expected to get beforehand
Okay, their anticipation.
with what they actually perceive they experienced. It's all about that gap or lack of gap between the anticipation and the reality.
Got it. So expectation versus perception, and I guess there are different ways that comparison can turn out.
Exactly. Three main outcomes. First, you've got positive disconfirmation.
Positive sounds good.
It is. This is when the service performed better than you expected.
Yeah.
You thought the hotel breakfast would be just okay, but it had this amazing fresh omelet station.
Ah, nice surprise. So
Yeah.
performance exceeds expectations.
Right. And that gap, that positive difference, creates a really good feeling and naturally high perceived quality.
Okay, outcome two.
Second is just confirmation. Performance simply met your expectations. The tour started on time, covered the sites mentioned in the brochure. Nothing amazing, nothing terrible.
You got what you paid for, essentially. Met expectations.
Pretty much matches expectations.
And the third one, I'm guessing, is the bad one?
Yeah, this is the one businesses dread: negative disconfirmation. Performance fell short of expectations.
Like, you expected the fast-track security line at the airport to be quick, but it took just as long as the regular line.
Perfect example. That gap leads to low perceived quality and, well, usually a pretty unhappy customer.
Makes sense. So the key components are expectations, which come from what? Past experiences, ads, word of mouth.
All of those, plus marketing promises, online reviews, and then you have the perceived performance, the actual delivery, the tangible bits, the intangible feelings. And finally, the disconfirmation itself, that gap, positive or negative.
And understanding this is obviously huge for tourism businesses, right? Managing promises, checking delivery.
Absolutely. Helps manage expectations, monitor performance, identify where those gaps are happening, and hopefully boost satisfaction and loyalty.
Okay, so if you do have a problem, that negative disconfirmation, that customer gap, where things didn't line up, how do you figure out why it happened inside the company?
Well, that's where another model comes in handy. It's called the GAPS model of service quality. Think of it as your diagnostic toolkit.
Okay, diagnosing the internal issues.
Exactly. It helps you look under the hood, so to speak. It identifies 5 potential internal breakdowns or gaps that can ultimately lead to that customer gap the customer feels.
5 internal gaps. Okay, what's the first one?
Gap 1 is the knowledge gap. This is where management just doesn't truly understand what customers actually expect.
They think they know, but they're off base?
Right. Maybe their research is outdated, or they're not really listening to feedback, or they're just making assumptions.
So, like, a resort management team thinks guests want constant organized activities, but really, most just want a quiet pool and good Wi-Fi?
Could be. That's a knowledge gap. The fix involves better market research, actually using customer feedback systems, improving internal communication about what customers want.
Got it. Gap 1, don't know what customers expect. What's gap 2?
Gap 2 is the policy gap. Some call it the design gap. Here, management does understand customer expectations, maybe from good research.
Okay, so they know what's needed.
But they fail to translate that understanding into the right service standards or service design.
So they know guests want speedy check-in, but the actual hotel policy or the system they design still leads to long queues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe it's due to resource constraints, not enough staff scheduled. Or maybe it's just poor process design. The standard isn't set correctly to meet the known expectation.
Right, so knowing isn't enough. You have to design the service properly. What's gap 3?
Gap 3 is a delivery gap. Now, the standards are set correctly. Management knows what should happen.
Okay.
But the frontline employees aren't actually delivering the service according to those standards.
This is where the rubber meets the road, right? The interaction point.
Precisely. This could be down to poor training, lack of empowerment, maybe the technology support isn't there,
Right.
or even low employee motivation or morale.
Like, the standard says airline cabin crews should proactively offer drinks, but maybe they're rushed or haven't been trained on spotting passenger needs effectively.
That's a classic delivery gap. Needs solutions like better training, monitoring, empowerment, maybe better tech.
Makes sense. 3 down, 2 to go. Gap 4.
Gap 4 is the communication gap. This one's about the difference between what the company promises the customer, usually through marketing, advertising, sales promises.
The glossy brochure, the website pictures.
Exactly. And what is actually delivered by the operations team.
The classic overpromise and underdeliver.
That's the heart of it. Showing pictures of a huge, luxurious hotel pool when it's actually quite small.
Yeah.
Promising ocean view when it's really just a tiny glimpse if you lean out the window.
Yeah, that definitely creates a gap. So, caused by marketing maybe exaggerating or just poor coordination between marketing and the people actually providing the service.
Both are common causes. Needs really tight alignment and accurate communication.
Okay, so we have knowledge, policy, delivery, communication gaps internally. What's the 5th gap?
The 5th gap is really the result of the other 4. It's the customer gap itself. The ultimate difference between what the customer expected and what they perceived they received.
So the first 4 are the internal causes, and the 5th is the external effect on the customer.
You got it. To shrink that big customer gap, you need to find and fix whichever of the internal gaps, 1, 2, 3, or 4, are contributing to it.
That's a really useful framework. It moves beyond just our service needs improving to pinpointing where the problem might be internally.
Definitely. Now, shifting gears slightly. We've talked about why there might be a gap, but what about what customers are actually evaluating when they judge service quality? What aspects matter most?
Right. What are the dimensions of quality in the customer's mind?
That's where another helpful model comes in. RATER, R-A-T-E-R.
RATER. Okay, what does that stand for?
It's an acronym for 5 key dimensions customers often use. The first R is for reliability.
Reliability. Sounds like doing what you said you'd do.
Exactly. Performing the promised service dependably and accurately. Getting the core service right consistently. And interestingly, research consistently shows this is often the most important dimension for customers.
Really? More than friendliness or anything?
Often, yes. Especially in tourism. Think about it. Your flight needs to depart and arrive roughly on time. Your hotel reservation needs to be honored. Your tour needs to cover the promised itinerary. If the basics aren't reliable, nothing else matters as much.
That makes a lot of sense. If the core promise fails, the rest is secondary. Okay, R is reliability. What's A?
A is for assurance. This involves the knowledge and courtesy of the employees and their ability to inspire trust and confidence.
So does the hotel concierge seem knowledgeable? Does the tour guide sound confident and answer questions well? Do you feel safe and secure?
Precisely. It's about feeling that the staff know what they're doing and that you're in good hands.
Okay, T's.
T stands for tangibles. Even though the core service is intangible, customers pick up on the physical evidence surrounding it.
So the look of the place.
Yes. The appearance of the physical facilities. Is the restaurant clean? Is the hotel lobby well maintained? The equipment used. Does the tour bus look modern and safe? Even the appearance of the personnel are staff neat and professional.
Right. Those physical cues definitely shape your overall impression. RATE.
E is for empathy. This is about providing caring, individualized attention to customers.
So showing you understand their specific needs or situation?
Exactly. Does the restaurant staff remember your allergy from a previous visit? Does the hotel receptionist make an effort to help you with a specific request? It's about making the customer feel understood and valued as an individual.
That personal touch. Okay, and the final R.
The second R is for responsiveness. This is about the willingness to help customers and provide prompt service.
How quick are they to respond?
Yeah. How quickly does someone answer the phone at the hotel front desk? How fast does the waiter attend to your table? Is staff readily available when you need assistance at the theme park information booth? A quick, willing response shows you respect the customer's time and needs.
Okay, so reliability, assurance, tangibles, empathy, responsiveness, radar. That gives businesses 5 clear areas to think about and potentially improve.
Exactly. It breaks down that fuzzy concept of service quality into more manageable components.
All right, so we know about potential gaps. We know the dimensions customers care about. But businesses need to actually measure how they're doing, right? You can't just guess.
Absolutely. You can't improve what you don't measure. And there are several key metrics used for this. We can touch on 3 really common ones.
Okay, let's hear them. First up.
First is probably the most straightforward. The customer satisfaction score, or CSAT.
CSAT. Heard of that one. How does it work?
It's usually a simple question asked after an interaction like, how satisfied were you with your experience today? Often on a scale, maybe 1 to 5, 1 to 7, or 1 to 10.
And you calculate, like, the average score.
Often, businesses report it as the percentage of customers who gave a positive rating, say, a 4 or 5 on a 5-point scale. The top 2 box score.
What's the value of CSAT?
It's great for getting immediate, specific feedback on a particular transaction or touch point. How satisfied were you with this hotel checkout? With this call to customer service? With this meal? Very versatile.
Okay, quick, specific feedback. What's the next metric?
Next is a very popular one, the Net Promoter Score, or NPS.
Ah, yes, the how likely are you to recommend question.
That's the one. On a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend company X or service Y to a friend or colleague?
And the calculation is a bit different, right? It's not just an average.
Correct. Based on the score, you categorize customers. 9s and 10s are promoters, your loyal enthusiasts. 7s and 8s are passive satisfied, but maybe not loyal, vulnerable to competitors. And the 0s through 6s are detractors, unhappy customers who could damage your brand.
And the score is?
The NPS score is calculated by subtracting the percentage of detractors from the percentage of promoters. So it can range from -100 to +100.
Why is NPS so widely used?
Well, it's seen as a strong predictor of business growth. The idea is that customers willing to recommend you are driving organic growth. It's also good for benchmarking against competitors.
But the score itself doesn't tell you why, does it?
Not on its own, no. That's why it's crucial to ask a follow-up question. Why did you give that score? That's where the actionable insights come from.
Got it. CSAT for specific satisfaction, NPS for overall loyalty, and recommendation likelihood. What's the third metric?
A really interesting one that's gained traction is the Customer Effort Score, or CES.
Customer effort. Okay, what's that measuring?
It measures how easy it was for the customer to interact with the company or get their issue resolved. The question is typically something like, how easy was it to handle your request today? Again, on a simple scale.
Why focus on ease? Isn't delighting the customer the goal?
Well, that's what's fascinating about the research behind CES. It suggests that making things easy and reducing customer effort is actually a more reliable driver of loyalty than trying to wow or delight them, especially when they're trying to solve a problem or get something done.
So less friction is key.
Exactly. Think about trying to book a complex multi-city trip online. If the website makes it seamless and easy, you feel good, you're likely to use it again. Loyalty increases.
But if it's clunky, confusing, full of errors, requires multiple calls.
You get frustrated, you might give up, you'll probably try a competitor next time, even if the eventual flight price was okay.
High effort kills loyalty. CES helps companies pinpoint and eliminate those friction points.
That's a powerful idea. Sometimes just being easy to deal with is the best service you can offer.
It often is, especially for necessary interactions.
Okay, those metrics give us numbers. But how do we understand the nuance? Like, not all features or service aspects impact satisfaction equally.
Absolutely not. And that's where the Kano model provides some really valuable insight. Kano. Okay, what does this model tell us?
It tells us that customer requirements or service attributes fall into different categories based on how they affect satisfaction. There are 5 main types.
5 types? Let's hear them.
First, you have basic needs, sometimes called must-be requirements. These are things customers absolutely expect. If they're missing, customers are very dissatisfied.
But if they are present?
If they're present, customers are just neutral.
Yeah.
They don't get more satisfied because these are just fundamental expectations.
Like cleanliness in a hotel room or safety features on an amusement park ride. You expect them. Their absence is a major problem, but their presence doesn't make you actively happy.
Exactly. You have to get these right just to be in the game. Second are performance needs, or one-dimensional requirements.
Performance. So more is better.
Yes. For these, satisfaction is directly proportional to the level of performance. The faster the check-in, the better. The more reliable the airline's on-time performance, the happier the customer. The quicker the room service delivery, the more satisfied you are.
Okay, linear relationship there. What's next?
Third, and this is where it gets interesting, are excitement needs, or attractive requirement.
Excitement. These sound like the fun ones.
They are. These are features or service elements that are unexpected. If they are present, they delight the customer and significantly increase satisfaction.
But if they're absent?
If they're absent, customers aren't dissatisfied because they weren't expecting them anyway.
Ah, like a surprise upgrade to business class on a flight, or a complimentary bottle of wine waiting in your hotel room, or maybe the tour guide adding a fascinating unscheduled stop.
Perfect examples. These are the wow factors that create buzz and differentiation.
Okay, basic. Performance excitement. Are there others?
The model also includes indifferent needs, things customers just don't care about either way. Their presence or absence doesn't affect satisfaction.
Like maybe the color of the carpet in the hotel corridor?
Perhaps for many guests. And finally, reverse needs. These actually cause dissatisfaction if they are present.
Like what?
Maybe overly complex technology in a hotel room that's hard to use, or staff being too attentive to the point of being intrusive.
Okay, got it. So Kano helps businesses understand that investing in different features has very different payoffs in terms of satisfaction. You can't treat everything the same.
Precisely. You must deliver the basics. You should compete on performance. And you can delight and differentiate with excitement. It helps prioritize development and innovation.
And it also highlights something interesting, doesn't it? That what's an excitement feature today?
Can easily become a working of performance, or even a basic need tomorrow, as competitors copy it and customer expectations evolve.
Like free Wi-Fi in hotels. Used to be an exciter, now it's pretty much expected, a basic need for many.
Exactly that, a very dynamic model.
All right, so we have all these tools, understanding gaps, dimensions, metrics, the Kano categories. How does a business, say a hotel chain or an airline, pull this all together to decide where to actually focus their improvement efforts? There's only so much time and money.
That's the critical question.
Yeah.
And a really practical tool for this kind of prioritization is the Importance Performance Matrix, or IPM.
Importance performance matrix. Sounds logical. How does it work?
It's quite straightforward visually. You plot various service attributes, maybe those from your radar analysis or customer feedback, on a two-dimensional grid.
What are the 2 dimensions?
One axis is how important is this attribute to our customers. The other axis is how well do we currently perform on this attribute.
Okay, so you need data on both importance and performance from customer surveys.
Yes, you ask customers to rate both the importance of, say, staff friendliness and how they perceived your performance on staff friendliness. You calculate the average scores for each attribute and plot them on the matrix.
And this creates quadrants.
Exactly, 4 quadrants, each suggesting a different strategic action.
Let's break them down. What if something is high importance and high performance?
That quadrant is usually labeled, keep up the good work. These are your strengths. Customers value these attributes, and you're delivering well on them. Maintain them.
Makes sense. What about the opposite? Low importance, low performance.
That's the low priority quadrant. Yeah. Customers don't care much about these things, and you're not great at them anyway. So don't invest significant resources here.
Okay, avoiding wasted effort. Now the tricky ones. High importance, but low performance.
That's the critical quadrant. Concentrate here. These attributes are really important to your customers, but your performance is currently poor. These are your key weaknesses and where you must focus your improvement efforts urgently.
Right. This is where you'll get the biggest bang for your buck in terms of boosting satisfaction and loyalty. Like If on-time departure reliability is highly important for airline passengers, but your airline consistently ranks low on it, that's priority number one.
Absolutely. That's where the action needs to happen. And the final quadrant.
Must be low importance, high performance.
Correct. This is sometimes called possible overkill. You're performing really well on attributes that customers don't actually value that highly.
It's maybe you're putting too much effort into something that doesn't matter.
Potentially, yes. The suggestion here is to consider whether you could perhaps reallocate some of those resources to the concentrate here quadrant, where they're more needed.
Wow, the IPM seems incredibly useful. It takes all that complex feedback data and turns it into a clear visual guide for action.
It really does. It helps managers make tough resource allocation decisions based on what truly matters to customers and where the biggest performance gaps are.
So we've covered a lot of ground, understanding the core challenge, the expectation-perception gap, internal breakdowns, quality dimensions, metrics, Kano, prioritization. Which brings us back to the big question. Why does all this effort towards customer satisfaction and service quality matter so much? Especially, as we said, in a competitive field like leisure and tourism.
Well, the benefits are huge and, honestly, interconnected. The source materials really lay this out clearly. First and foremost, it drives customer loyalty and retention.
Happy customers come back. Simple as that. Makes sense.
And loyal customers are less price sensitive. They cost less to serve than acquiring new ones. It's fundamental.
And that loyalty creates
A significant competitive advantage. In a crowded market, like tourism often is, outstanding service is a powerful differentiator that's hard for competitors to copy quickly.
It also leads to positive word of mouth, right? Both online and offline.
Massively important. Happy travelers tell their friends, post great reviews, share photos. That's incredibly valuable. Essentially free marketing. Builds a strong brand reputation.
And all this ultimately contributes to
Higher profitability. Loyal customers spending more. Lower acquisition costs. Premium pricing potential due to strong reputation. It all flows to the bottom line.
Plus, if you're delivering high-quality service, you probably have fewer things going wrong.
Exactly. Fewer complaints, lower costs associated with service recovery, or fixing problems, what they call failure costs.
It probably helps build better relationships, too.
Definitely. Increased customer intimacy. You understand your best customers better. You can tailor things for them. They give you valuable feedback.
And what about the people delivering the service, the employees?
Good point. High customer satisfaction often correlates with higher employee satisfaction. Staff feel better when they're empowered, supported, and dealing with happy customers instead of constant complaints.
Yeah.
It creates a positive cycle.
You might even get more efficient.
Often, yes. Improving service quality usually involves streamlining processes, which leads to better operational efficiency.
Helps with compliance, maybe, and opens doors.
Sure, meeting service standards can be part of regulatory compliance in some areas. And a strong reputation absolutely paves the way for market expansion, entering new locations, or attracting new customer segments.
So yeah, the case is pretty compelling. For any hotel, airline, restaurant, attraction, mastering this stuff isn't just nice to have, it's critical for success.
Absolutely critical.
Wow. Okay, we really have unpacked a lot today, haven't we? From that basic challenge of service being intangible, all the way to these sophisticated tools for measuring and prioritizing improvements.
Yeah, we've touched on how expectations meet reality with confirmation-disconfirmation.
Diagnosed internal problems with the GAPS model.
Broken down quality with Radar, and added nuance with Kano.
Talked metrics, CSAT, NPS, CES.
And looked at how to focus action with the importance performance matrix.
It's definitely clear that understanding service quality isn't just about, smiling more. There's a real science and structure behind it.
There really is. These frameworks provide a structured way to think about and manage something that can feel quite complex and subjective.
Hopefully for you listening, understanding these models might change how you look at your own experiences as a customer next time you travel or eat out.
Or, if you happen to work in delivering services, maybe it gives you some new perspectives on how to approach things.
And on that note, we'd actually love to hear from you, especially thinking about service in Germany, since we mentioned the Stralsund connection earlier.
Yeah, what examples of really high or perhaps memorably low service quality have you encountered here? In hotels, restaurants, transport. We're genuinely curious about your experiences.
Please share your thoughts in the comments or wherever you engage with us.
And of course, if you found this kind of deep dive valuable, breaking down these academic marketing concepts, and you're interested in more,
then definitely make sure you follow this channel so you don't miss our future explorations.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with, building on all this.
Yeah.
While these models are fantastic for understanding and measuring, Maybe the biggest ongoing challenge is remembering that customer expectations are never static.
Ah, right. That Kano point again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That excitement feature you introduced that wowed everyone last year, give it a bit of time,
Yeah.
and it might just become the basic minimum everyone expects tomorrow. The goalposts are always moving.
Something to definitely chew on. Excellent. Thanks for diving deep with us today.